Welcome and thank you for being here. This is the 4-3 webinar on Google Analytics. My name is Raul and I am a support specialist and a professional services ninja here at Klipfolio. I also run some of the other webinars at the 400 level, and you might have seen some of those as well. I've been with Klipfolio for a little under a year, and some of you might have also seen me respond to your chats, tickets, and phone calls, and that's what I do. So welcome once again, and I'm very excited to have you here today. I just want to mention before we move forward that we do have a worksheet that you can refer to, and you can fill in the blanks as we go along here. So let me just share the link for you guys and give you an idea of what it looks like. So that is what the worksheet will look like, and I'm just going to share it in the chat so you can take a look at it as well. So as I mentioned, this is just something that you can fill in as I go along. I feel some of the information that I will be sharing will be something that you could refer to again at a later point in time, so this can help facilitate with that. The other thing that I also want to point you to is the page on useful links. I will be discussing certain topics and sharing links. So you have this clickable version of that right here that you can refer to at a later point in time as well. So the idea of these webinars is to address the most common subject matters that we see in our support queue and the most common questions that we get on them as well. And one of the most popular services that our customers connect with is Google Analytics. So there isn't a day that goes by where we don't see a single email on it. So that's the whole purpose of this particular 4-3 webinar on Google Analytics. So what we will do is we will go through the most common scenarios that we get asked about, and we will walk through some examples. At the end as well, we will also do a quick Q&A session. And we'll be able to answer any questions that you might have at that point in time. Now, before we start, I just want to mention as well that we are not Google Analytics experts, but we learn tips and tricks as we build our own sample clips for the gallery. So you may not necessarily have, we may not necessarily have all the answers. Typically, we refer you to the service providers themselves. And we do, but of course, one simply does not reach out to the Google, and we can understand that. So we try to share what we know by correspondence and through this webinar. So all that to say, we're not Google, so your mileage may vary, but we do what we can for you guys. So as I mentioned earlier, we do offer pre-built gallery content, and this is the easiest way to get your Google Analytics data onto your dashboard. Our team here has selected metrics that are of interest to most users, and we've built great clips to visualize that data for you. The most basic way to get Google Analytics into your account are the GA or Google Analytics Daily Overview and Websites Overview pre-built dashboards. So if you look at your worksheet here, you'll see that I have provided links for those as well. So I'll just bring them up here. So these are the two basic dashboards that you can start with. This is the Google Analytics Daily Overview dashboard, and as you can see, this is focused on how your website is performing right now, and this is more interested in how it is doing that day at that period of time. And I know that even our marketing guys upstairs use this to see how our Klipfolio website is doing, and if anything is going all right, they can tell straight away by looking at these metrics here. Now, the other one that you have here is the Google Analytics Websites Overview. Now, this is a little bit more for people who are managing multiple websites. This is perfect for if you are an agency and you're reporting to your clients. This is very useful, and you'll see why, because you'll be able to toggle between the different websites that you are managing. Now, let me just see if I can show you quickly how you can get this onto your dashboard. It's pretty straightforward. All you have to do is just click on add this dashboard here. And that is basically the dashboard on the screen right now. And we have the sample data on there. Now, all you need to do is just click on this orange button that says connect to data and select the token that you have. If you don't already have a token, you can just put in your credentials for your token and then just click on next step. And what you will do is just select the company and whatever account. Now, I don't know if any of these actually have data, but I just want to show you the steps that you need to perform to get through them. So basically, we'll just link and get data. As I mentioned, I don't think this one has data. But you just keep clicking on next step, and by the end of it all, your whole dashboard will be populated with your data from your website. And that's pretty much the Google Analytics Daily Overview dashboard. Now, we do have a handbook here that's handy, so you can just click on that, and that will give you an idea of what they do. So that's that, and this is the analytics website overview. So if you add this one looks a little bit different when you add it. Just select or authenticate the account that you want. Now I'm just going through this quickly because this is pretty straightforward to do, and if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us, but there's a lot of content to cover, so I'm just going through this just to give you a quick idea. So you can see that this is automatically created for you, and this differs in the fact that you have many websites that you can refer to, and you have a selector here that allows you to select between different periods in time. All right, so those are the two pre-built dashboards. I'm just going to remove that for now. So this works perfectly for most clients. As mentioned before, we have built these based on a baseline that all users find useful. It's all you really need, and we do not recommend modifying these dashboards as they are fairly complex and may be quite a bit of work to modify, especially if you are a novice or you're using Klipfolio for the first time. We do curate these metrics based on feedback, so what you see should be sufficient. If you feel that it's lacking, or you think that there should be a metric here that it's not there but it should be, you can definitely provide feedback, and you can do that via our community or send us an email, and we get in touch with our gallery team, and they will address that so that we can get something that is not existent there, but something that anyone or everyone will be able to benefit from just because of your feedback. So that works, as I said, for most people. But of course, there are there are also those advanced users and the tinkerers out there. So you may be thinking that you need a clip that's not on these pre-built dashboards, and we try to make life easy for you. So before you go on and start panicking, your first step should be always to check if we already have something pre-built. You can always find something in our gallery that you can tweak. And while we don't usually recommend modifying the pre-built dashboards that you previously saw, those may have a lot of contingent moving parts. The standalone gallery clips are for the most part simple enough for you to modify. So to access the gallery, obviously all you need to do is just click on add a clip, and we have the clip gallery here, and just look up Google Analytics. And you'll see all the clips that we have available. If you find that one of them is close enough for what you need, you can just add it to your dashboard and you can open and edit it, right? So it's pretty straightforward. So I'm just going to look for an example here that we can use that I can show you right now. Let's see. Let's do the audience metrics. So I'm just going to add that. I'm going to authenticate. And let's see, to find one that actually has got information. So maybe we'll use this. Awesome. So that added, and this is basically an audience metrics clip. It shows me that I have how many users, sessions, and page views in a selected time frame here. So maybe this is close enough to what I need, but I'm missing one bit of information. And maybe what I'm interested in is the number of new users. So like I said, here I can already see users, the sessions, and the page views, but I want information on new users as well. So first, let me introduce you to a tool that allows you to figure out what metric and dimensions are available to you. Now, if you look at your worksheet, you'll find the link to it there, but you can simply Google for it as well. So I have it already open here, so I'm just going to drag and drop it here. And this is our Dimensions and Metrics Explorer. So what this tool allows you to do is allows you to find the exact name of the metric or dimension that you want to bring in to your data source. And it also explains what each of those are. So in general, metrics are quantitative measurements. And for example, the metric sessions is the total number of sessions. Dimensions, on the other hand, are attributes of your data. So for example, the dimension city indicates a city like Paris or New York from which a session originates. So this Explorer gives you an explanation of what each metric or dimension returns. Now, in my case, as I mentioned earlier, I am interested in the number of new users. So I can look at the user group here, and I see that these are the metrics and dimensions available to me. And I do see that I have a metric called new users. So that's probably what I would be interested in. So if I click on that, you'll see that it gives me information on it. It's a number of sessions marked as a user's first session. Perfect. That works really well for me. So I'm just going to copy this here. And then what I need to do is I need to go back to my clip here, and I need to do two things. First, I need to edit the clip. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we really don't recommend for people to edit our clips, but if you are a little bit more advanced, you can actually edit the standalone clips themselves, not so much the dashboards. We highly don't recommend that. So here we will go, and what we want to do is we want to get our data first. So you can see we have users, sessions, and page views, but we don't have our new users metric. So we will reconfigure the data source. I think I did that a little quickly, but all you need to do is click on the little I, and that will open up the data source. And then here we will do reconfigure data source, and then we'll just step through this authentication process. And you'll see here, this is what our query looks like. We have users, sessions, page views. So here, we're just going to add in that metric that we just got from our metric explorer. And there you go. We have new users as well. Okay, so we're just going to save that change. And we're going to go back to our editor, and we're just going to reload it here so we can see that data. Now, what you're seeing here is something that we cover in another webinar, and this has got to do with data sources. What we just did was we created a new data source that has got a new metric, and it's a dynamic data source. So we have some instances here that are expired, so we can just delete them all, and then we will go to view it, and then we'll just reconfigure and we'll rerun that. That gives us our fresh data. Okay, and now when we go and refresh it here, we should see that data. And there you go, new users is right there. So that was step one, modifying the data source so that we actually get the data to report on. Step two is to create that series. So we have a series each for the existing data, and we want to add a new one. So let me just add a new series here. And this is going to be new users. And the formula is going to look pretty much the same as the other ones. So I'm just going to copy and paste it. Okay, the only thing that's different here is going to be, instead of referencing sessions, we want to reference the number of new users. So you can just save that and exit. So here you will see that we had that many users for that day, but of that, most of it were new user sessions. So you can kind of get an idea of your proportion of new users versus existing users logging into the page. So that was pretty straightforward, and that was editing an existing clip from the gallery. And that is one of the ways that people work with our gallery clips, or if the gallery clip doesn't quite get them where they need to be, they are able to modify the data source and the formula a little bit to get what they need. Now, if you don't find a clip that works for you, you can definitely create your own data sources, and you can create your own clip using that. And as per usual, our data connector is available under Library, Data Sources, and Create a New Data Source. And here you are able to create a new data source for Google Analytics. Search for it, and you can see some of the pre-built templated queries that you can use, or you can build your own. So if you create your own, all you need to do is change the profile ID and then update the queries over there. So in my case, if I was looking at whatever I was doing before, I have users, sessions, page views. I can just put in the profile ID, and that would give me it. So in my case, my profile ID was 180. And there you go. That's the same data that I had gotten previously. Users, sessions, and page views. And obviously, if I do add my fourth dimension, fourth metric in there, new users, that's going to get me that as well. So that was pretty easy to do. Now, if you are looking to maybe do it a little bit more simpler, we also have the simple mode. And it's pretty much the same thing. All you're doing is you're putting in your profile ID. So that's 182. Okay. And then it's pretty straightforward. You just drag and drop whatever you need. So in this case, I haven't covered dimensions yet, but I'll get to that in a second. Metrics, we have users, new users, page views, and sessions. Okay, so if we run that, what we will get, you're going to get this. So you're going to get an aggregated data for that period we selected. So we can even go last 30 days. Even if you do that, you're still only going to get a value that is aggregated for 30 days. So that's where dimensions come in. If you put GA date, what it's going to do is going to break it down for us by the date. Okay, so that's the other way of doing it using the simple mode. Now, I prematurely showed you the advanced mode, but this is pretty powerful because you can put in whatever query you need And this is handy to use along with another Google Analytics tool, and that is the Google Analytics Query Explorer. Again, you can find the link to this handy tool in your worksheet as well. I have it open here. Maybe not. Let's just need to find that. Okay. Good thing it's easy enough to Google it. So this is what the Query Explorer looks like, and what this is a tool that allows you to create a query from scratch and paste that directly into the connector in the advanced mode. You can fill in all these options to get exactly what you need, and the query will be auto-generated for you. So, for example, I can choose the account that I want, and I'm interested in app.klipfolio.com, so just klipfolio.com. Okay, and that's my ID. It's already pre-populated for me. My start date is 30 days ago to today. And then again, on the metrics, I can find users, and I can find sessions. I can find new users. And the last one we were looking for was page views. Okay. So I'm using the same metrics just to give you guys an idea of what you can do, but obviously this is more powerful than that, and you can put in whatever metrics you want based on your Metric Explorer page that I provided earlier. Again, we're going to put date there, and then you can put all these other things in there as well. You can also put a sampling level in there. I'll get to that in a little bit. But for example, if I were to put higher position, you will see what we get here. So there you go. You get a preview of the data, so you'll know what you are getting with that query. And on top of that, you are also going to get the query itself. So that's the beauty of this tool. And if you feel you don't have the data that you need here, you can always tweak your query up here to get a preview of the data that you want. And once you're happy, you can take this query over here, and then you can go back to the connector, and in advanced mode, you can just paste it in. And if you do get data, there you go. That's the exact same data that we saw here. And now you can actually save that and then use that as a data source to build your clips. So that gives you an idea or an overview on how you can use the Google Analytics tools. We have the Query Explorer, as well as the Metrics and Dimensions Explorer, and the connector that we have in our gallery for Google Analytics. So with those tools, you're able to build whatever clip you want using whatever data sources you want. Excuse me. So I have 5 minutes here to go over some of the other questions that come up pretty often. The first one is, I showed you earlier, I guess, when we added the is it the daily overview? No, it's Google Analytics. Just go here and add that in. So this is something that agencies would use, for example, or if you are using multiple websites, or if you are tracking multiple websites. I don't know if you noticed earlier, but sometimes you might see all website data. That isn't too useful, but that's something that is coming from the source itself, from Google Analytics. So what I have provided for you in your worksheet is a handy little step-by-step process that allows you to change your title in your Google Analytics account, so that instead of saying all website data, it will be something more meaningful. So that's one thing that you can look out for. One thing that we get questions on a lot, why we are seeing all website data. That's how you can go about updating that. Okay. The other question that we get is regarding permissions. Sometimes you get questions about why they don't have access to data. That is something that you need to check on your end to make sure that you have been provided access to the GA profile that you're trying to get data from. If you are unsure that that is the case, there are API calls you can use, API management calls you can use. But if you want, you can also reach out to us and we can help you traverse through those steps for yourself as well. The next issue is sampling. Now, data sampling is something that's done in Google Analytics, and it kicks in when you have higher volume of data. In general, in analytics, sampling is a practice of selecting a subset of data from your traffic and then reporting on the trends available in that sample set. So you're not necessarily interested in the specific numbers, but you're interested in the trends. And so that's what Google Analytics is using as well. And the whole idea is to speed up the processing for reports when the volume of data is large, and so that you get quicker, more responsive reports. Now, to avoid that, there are a number of things you can do. You can break down your data into smaller chunks by using the start and end date parameters to do that. Shorter date ranges mean smaller data chunks. You can also use the sampling level like I did earlier. Higher precision is the parameter that I use, and that is the most precise sampling level, but that does have efficiency issues. So if you click on that information icon there, it will give you the 3 different options to get default, faster, and higher precision. So that's something you can take a look at. And if you absolutely do not want sampling, we do know that clients use services like BigQuery, which is also run by Google, and premium versions of Google Analytics to kind of go around the sampling issue. The next issue that we hear of is hitting daily quotas. Now, there are daily quotas that are set by Google, and they're fairly big, 50,000 requests per project per day, and 10 queries per second. This is not a big issue for most people, but if you are an agency, you might have issues here. So the idea is to not have as many refreshes in your data sources as possible. So limit them to what you actually need them to be, because every refresh is an API call, and if you refresh too quickly, you could run the risk of hitting those API limits. The other thing too is deleting unused data sources. If you have a data source that has previously been set up with recurring refresh interval, and they're not in use, they're still using up your API quota, so be sure to delete them. The last issue here is with tokens. So sometimes you might have a data source that was being used previously and everything was working fine, and all of a sudden it doesn't work anymore. And one of the reasons could be that your token is expired. They can expire for any number of reasons, and if you go look into the support documentations, the Google Analytics support documentation, you'll get an idea of some of the reasons why. The user could have revoked access, or might not have been used in 6 months, or the user might have changed passwords. These are all scenarios that can cause tokens to expire. So those are some things that you can look into if you realize that you are in that boat. So that really brings me to the end of this presentation. I hope you have all your answers for your worksheets. So the 2 pre-built dashboards in the Klipfolio gallery for Google Analytics are the daily websites overview and the daily overview dashboards. And the next point there, Google Analytics Metrics and Dimensions Explorer is the tool that allows you to see what metrics and dimensions are available to make API calls. And then the next point there, when using the Google Analytics data source connector, you can use the simple mode and just choose the dimensions and metrics as well as the time frame. So I guess I kind of messed up over there. The simple mode is already the answer, and I just put the blank there. So I kind of gave you the answer. I just need to update that. And then the next point there, Google Analytics Query Explorer is the tool that allows you to construct and auto-generate the query that you need. And it also allows you to preview the data returned by the query. So whenever you feel like you're not getting the data that you were expecting in Google Analytics to show up in Klipfolio, you can always run the same query in the Query Explorer, and that will help you determine where the issue lies. If the source, if Google Analytics itself is only showing you that data via the API, then that's what we can show as well. We can't show any more than what you see in the Query Explorer. Okay. The second last point, data sampling is what kicks in Google Analytics when there's a higher volume of data, and a token can expire and may need to be reauthorized. And you can do that within the app under connected accounts. All you need to do is just click on the token and just click on reauthorize and then provide your credentials. So that brings me to the end of my presentation here. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, and I have provided the link to the support at klipfolio.com email address on the worksheet. The other thing that I want to highlight is the community. If you have any queries that you think are pretty cool, be sure to check them, share them on the community. If you have any queries that you are having issues with, we can help you, but there are other people who also use Google Analytics that are existing in our customer base, so they might be able to chime in as well and provide some feedback and insights on how you can go about implementing that. The last point I want to make is be sure to sign up for other webinars. We have quite a few of them at the 400 level now, so you should be able to find something that you might be interested in. So thanks again for your time, and I hope to see you around at our other webinars. Bye for now.